fighting like cats and dogs. That's definitely what I feel the Ming tribe has going on with it right now. And I'm going to throw a great prediction out. Towards the end of this arc, the cats and dogs are going to learn to work together a little bit better. And it's going to be like, hey, you know, they fought like cats and dogs, but they learned to find some peace, especially when times are hard and they really need to work together. Because in this chapter, when the whole thing happened with the dog leader, I forget his name, but pretty much if him and Neko Mamushi would have worked together, they would have stopped Jack. Because from what we found out in this chapter with the little Shanks mention, I think the Shanks mention wasn't just like an arbitrary mention. It wasn't just like, let's throw Shanks in there. Because I read the chapter a couple different times, I'm not going to lie. Because at first glance, I was just like, it's just a flashback about fucking Minks, like, what? But when you read it and you look at it, the Shanks mention how he ran across him in the seas and whatnot back in the day before he became a hotshot Yonko. That was to showcase exactly how strong these Minks are. They're not no pushovers, which is interesting because Oda normally makes the island people like, they ain't shit. And I'm glad that since we're in the New World, you know, people should be a little bit stronger. So the dog and Neko Mamushi, they are actually on a whole different level. So when Neko Mamushi flipped Jack in this chapter, you're not going to just be like, some random fucking cat, really? Because you get the little mention of how they went up against Shanks back in the day, or they crossed Shanks' path, so to speak, back in the days. It was like, okay, if you maybe had something with Shanks or whatever, a little fight or something, whatever, you might have been on that level, bro. You might have been something special. Not to mention, the only reason that the dog leader got fucked up is because he tried to say, I'm a peace man, don't do it, and then just got fucked over. Like, if he would have went in, he probably wouldn't have gotten fucked over. And then if Neko Mamushi and him would have worked together, which they have that stupid 6 a.m., 6 p.m. bullshit going on, is like, cut that out and they would have saved their country or whatever. So I think that was definitely stupid of the whole rivalry getting in the way, cats and dogs, ha ha ha. Like, just bury the fucking hatchet and you would have taken this dude out no problem, because look what Neko Mamushi did on his own, flipping Jack and shit like that. Imagine them working together. They would have easily got Kaido's group out of there. Not easily, but they definitely would have got Kaido's group out of there and wouldn't have had the catastrophe that happened. And we also got the revelation, probably this was the biggest thing I want to say about the chapter, that Jack's bounty is 1 billion berry. I want to know what the fuck he's done to get that, because you got to think to yourself for a second. Luffy, they raised it to what, 400 million before he just got his recent boost to 500 million or whatever. So he had a 400 million berry bounty in the whole Marineford shit. I mean, that was global. Everybody saw it. Everybody saw that he defied the government, went up against the 3 admirals and everything. So if he only went up to 400 mil and then now 500 mil because of the Dressrosa shit, then what the fuck did Jack do to get 1 billion? I mean, I guess the catastrophe, everywhere he goes, he's just annihilating everything, so it's more devastating than being a part of the Marineford shit. But nonetheless, like, 1 billion, bro? Seriously, that's double what Luffy and Law are. That's pretty much Luffy and Law's bounties put together, like, huh? And seemingly at the end, Jack went back to his human form, and from what we understood in the previous chapter was that the gas was the thing that did it. It wasn't anything else, because basically Jack was put against the wall. And I'm curious, I think honestly, because if I'm correct, all these people are from man-made devil fruits, the reason why they're getting fucked over like that is that reason. I think if those were legit devil fruits that turned him into that, the mammoth or whatever, he probably would have been a lot stronger, and that's probably why Neko Mamushi can not... To mention the fact that, you know, again, there was that whole Shanks mention, but that's probably why Neko Mamushi and the dog motherfucker could take him on, because he has that artificial shit. It's not legit, so maybe it's a little bit weaker and it has defects. And with all that being said, honestly, it was a simple chapter for the most part. I definitely wish we would have got more progression, honestly. It felt like it was very sluggish. I mean, we got a little bit here or there of the backstory, but like, at least... sometimes with a chapter, you got to give us that big bone to feed us, especially there's no One Piece chapter next week, and then I think we'll have like 1 or 2 more, like we'll probably have 2 chapters the remainder of this year, and then we got to go on that break. So like, this is what you leave us with, Oda? Really? Like, I would have liked at least for Sanji to show up and say, yo, I'm going in, something like that. So I'm like, oh man, we could have got a little bit more. The pacing was definitely slow, and we didn't get too much progression in this, and it was just mainly the backstory. So it was honestly like an average chapter. It just really was building up more of the whole history of the Mink tribe and cats versus dogs and how they don't get along, and they used to be BFFs. And again, I feel at the end of the arc like they're gonna bury the hatchet, and maybe they'll still have their ways or whatever, but ultimately when shit goes down, they will work together, and we'll have cats and dogs holding hands fighting and shit like that, which is kind of corny, but I feel like that's the way it's gonna go. So maybe a 5 for this chapter, average chapter, 5 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think of this though. What do you think about Neko Mamushi and the whole, you know, leader dog guy motherfucker? Do you think that they're on that level. And again, the whole Shanks mention, do you feel as though it was to showcase that they're not pushovers? And I guess I'm kind of glad that the Mink tribe just aren't complete weaklings like we've seen in many different countries. Like, everybody's weak, and Luffy and the crew are the only people that can do anything. Like, they can do some shit too. So I'm curious what it was that Sanji had to do to step in to stop them when they used Caesar's gas. So I'm really hoping the next chapter gets us, if not to the finale of this flashback, then almost all the way through. And we really need to see Sanji. Come on, bro. And your overall thoughts of this chapter? Just, did you get a kick out of it? Honestly, it felt like it should have had more. It just should have had more. It was like Neko Mamushi and all that shit. It's alright, but we should have had more. But thanks for watching. If you enjoyed anything about this video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want to see more videos, make sure to subscribe. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.